Here's your news for March 27th, 2020. We're starting off today with some huge news from WrestleMania as Roman Reigns is out of the biggest show of the year. The big dog was supposed to challenge Universal Champion Goldberg for the title next weekend, but now the match is off, according to the Pro Wrestling Sheet. Reports have stated that Reigns informed WWE that he didn't feel comfortable going ahead with the match, as people with compromised immune systems have been classed as high-risk cases in the current global situation. Given that Reigns has had 2 battles with leukemia over his life, his immune system has been highly compromised, and reports have stated that the WWE was completely accepting of his decision and that there were no arguments. While Roman's health is the most important factor in all of this, his decision does mean that there is no challenger for Goldberg's Universal Championship. But fans might get some answers on tonight's edition of SmackDown. According to Dave Meltzer, who reported on the Wrestling Observer Forum, Braun Strowman is expected to replace the big dog, and that a segment is expected to air during tonight's edition of the Blue brand. Given that Reigns was the heavy favorite to leave WrestleMania with the blue title, this change could mean that Strowman could be walking out of Orlando as the Universal Champion, which would also complete his journey to WWE's Triple Crown. Fightful Select reports that WWE was told of Roman's decision on Wednesday, which was the first day of the company pre-taping their biggest show of the year. WWE has already taped some of WrestleMania 36 in their Performance Center and, quote, multiple other locations, and we here at SlatRock Wrestling would like to send our best wishes to Roman at this worrying time. This news is obviously the last thing WWE wanted ahead of their biggest show of the year, but it looks like Reigns may not be the only person to miss WrestleMania. The Wrestling Observer newsletter has noted that several names who are meant to compete at the Showcase of the Immortals are homesick, though due to the small production crew that WWE is using, it's unclear who. Names are being kept confidential because so few know, but it's been confirmed that multiple people on the card either said they were sick, which meant instantly being pulled off of all shows this week. There were others who did not feel sick but had fevers above 100.4, which was the WWE's cutoff point of not allowing people to work, and others who, on their own, said they didn't feel comfortable flying in. The WWE has been screening everyone who arrives at the Performance Center, and it seems like the temperature was too high for some who made it. With WrestleMania just over a week away, this year's show is not at all what WWE had planned just a month ago, and it seems that there is still plenty that could change between now and the show's first night on April 4th. Obviously, the situation is scary right now, but as the old saying goes, the show must go on. Recently, the WWE has been holding their weekly TV from the Performance Center, and this week's edition of Monday Night Raw was no different, but with a much smaller crew than usual. According to the Wrestling Observer, the WWE used a skeleton crew backstage with only a handful of producers putting together the show, including Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, Paul Heyman, who also served an on-screen role with Brock Lesnar, and Triple H. It's also been reported that WWE isn't calling in any producers from out of Florida to help put WrestleMania 36 together, as the last thing people need in this situation is to travel and to have too many people in one confined place. Now, we previously reported that the WWE has filed trademarks for their upcoming WrestleMania, including the phrase "too big for one night," referencing the 2-day event. Now, though, WWE has filed a trademark for "I wasn't there" for use on merchandise, which recently was used on their "I wasn't there" shirts, poking fun at the fact that WrestleMania will take place without a crowd. Hopefully, this isn't a sign that WWE will host more pay-per-views without a crowd, but in this truly unpredictable time, nothing is for certain. Speaking of WrestleMania, we're going back in time to 1987 now, as WrestleMania 3 saw one of the most iconic matches of all time. In front of a claimed 93,173 fans, the main event saw WWF champion Hulk Hogan defend his title against Andre the Giant, with the Slam heard around the world. Now, though, the WWE has changed the match, as the company recently added the bout to their 10 biggest matches from WrestleMania history collection and had to fit the iconic contest into a widescreen format. This meant that several shots of the match have had the lower half cropped, and there were even parts when Hogan was missing from the screen entirely while he was selling for the 8th wonder of the world. Fans familiar with the classic match were quick to notice these changes, and while this isn't the biggest change WWE has made to their own content, it's interesting to see that the company will change up such an iconic match to fit modern-day technology. From a giant of yesteryear to a giant of today, as Braun Strowman recently claimed he wasn't getting paid by WWE during the ongoing situation that's affecting the company. Strowman's comments came shortly after he riled up fans for criticizing indie wrestlers who are unable to wrestle due to shows being cancelled, and now the Wrestling Observer newsletter has weighed in on the Monster Among Men's comments. We all know that the WWE has various lucrative contract options, and it looks like many superstars have made more than their downside guarantee, meaning they won't get paid while shows such as live events aren't happening. The Observer said, "A lot of the talent would fall into the category as if they were above their downside. They wouldn't be getting paid right now except for days worked. Some, like Slater, made sure that their $400,000 downside was paid bi-weekly as opposed to agreeing to take the regular payments every other week based on house shows and merch." It was further noted that a vast majority of superstars who don't make their downside get a lump sum at the end of the year, but if there's a shutdown, they'll receive their lump sum then to help them with costs. One tag team who is feeling the pinch is the Revival, as on the latest edition of Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer claimed that Scott Dawson hasn't been paid in 6 to 7 weeks. As for Dash Wilder, his contract with the company has been extended till mid-June, so fans will have to wait quite a while before seeing the top guys together outside of WWE. WWE superstars are just one group of people who are earning less money during this difficult time, as people around the world are pinching pennies with various shops and workplaces being shut down. We've got more news regarding Braun Strowman, as his recent comments against independent wrestlers didn't go down well with many people, including Jim Cornette. Speaking on the Jim Cornette drive-thru, the controversial manager gave his 2 cents, saying, "I don't understand why Strowman acts like it was their choice that their bookings got canceled. This was not any of their fault. For a guy with guaranteed money to be down on them, you big fat he's a fathead." He later added that Strowman's guaranteed contract means he gets paid whether he wrestles or not, claiming, "He couldn't survive in the actual wrestling business. He never had to pay his dues. He got paid to train and learn and got a guaranteed contract." It's still unclear whether Strowman is getting paid or not during the current situation, but fans can add Jim Cornette to the long list of people annoyed at the monster among men. We've got some lighter news for you all now, as AEW World Champion Jon Moxley is a man who does what he wants, when he wants, and that apparently even means appearing on WWE content. During this week's edition of WWE Backstage, Renee Young and Booker T were joined by Xavier Woods, and due to the current global situation, all 3 of them were recording from their own homes. While the trio were speaking, the reigning AEW World Champion appeared behind his wife with their dog, and this unplanned cameo got some big laughs out of Booker and Xavier. Trying to save face, Renee reminded viewers that she was working from her home in Las Vegas, and this fun cameo by the former Dean Ambrose is exactly what the world needs during this unpredictable time. Speaking of AEW, one person who has made a big impact in the company recently is Brody Lee, who was revealed as the leader of the Dark Order last week. On this week's Dynamite, the former Luke Harper was seen eating a steak and freaked out when someone near him sneezed, which is a dig at WWE owner Vince McMahon, who strongly dislikes sneezing and people sneezing around him, reportedly because it's something he can't control. According to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, a lot of people were, quote, very upset about the shots at McMahon taken by Lee, and while Meltzer didn't specify who, it's likely people within WWE are the ones ticked off. Though AEW has claimed that they want to focus on their own brand, this is by far not the first time that the new promotion has taken shots at WWE, and we can't help but wonder just how long the company will continue to take digs at their competition. We're going back to WWE now, as the upcoming NXT UK TakeOver Dublin event has officially been postponed by the company. The show was meant to take place at the 3 Arena in Dublin, Ireland on April 26th, but given the ongoing situation around the world, the event has now been postponed to Sunday, October 25th. A tweet from the 3 Arena Dublin account has said that any tickets purchased for the show will still be valid for October, so fans who have paid for the show will still get to see it, just a lot later than they expected. Although this change isn't surprising, it still sucks that the show had to be moved, and hopefully life will be back to normal by October so that fans can finally see NXT UK TakeOver Dublin. We've got some sad news to report now, as we've learned that WWE Hall of Famer Bullet Bob Armstrong is battling bone cancer. Armstrong, whose last match took place when he was 79, is the father of WWE referee Scott Armstrong, as well as the Road Dogg Jesse James, and despite his unfortunate situation, isn't letting cancer stop him from living his life. Recently, Scott tweeted a picture of his dad getting a workout in, claiming that when he gave the legendary star 30 pounds, Bullet Bob asked for 100. Older fans may remember Bob from his lengthy career that spanned 5 decades and included various title victories in companies like Georgia Championship Wrestling and the NWA before his WWE Hall of Fame induction in 2011. In that same tweet, Scott revealed that his dad has chosen not to have any treatment to fight the cancer, and we'd like to send our best wishes to Bob, his sons, his family, and his fans through this difficult period. We're heading back to this week's Raw now, as on the latest episode, AJ Styles laid out the challenge for The Undertaker to meet him in a boneyard match. Though there's plenty of Deadman-centric stipulations over the years, including the Buried Alive match, Last Ride match, and Casket match, there's never been a boneyard match, though Styles has given some more details about the contest on his live stream. Appearing on Mixer, the Phenomenal One claimed that their boneyard match won't be taking place in the ring, and that there are no rules, so anything goes. Styles also claimed that a grave will be involved somehow, so it may be similar to a Buried Alive match after all. As previously reported, the plan is for most WrestleMania matches to happen at the Performance Center, with a few matches happening at other locations, and given the need for a grave, it looks like the Boneyard match will be one of the contests that takes place away from the PC. One superstar who fans won't be seeing at any location for WrestleMania is Razor, who suffered a torn bicep earlier this month. This week, the former NXT and Raw Tag Team Champion has undergone surgery to fix the injury, and if there are no complications, then the author of pain should be back within 7 to 8 months. After time away, Razor, alongside Akam, returned to assist Seth Rollins, and the company has opted not to use Akam on screen without his tag team partner. Time will tell whether Razor is able to return any sooner than expected, but given everything that is happening in WWE and the world right now, having some time to himself to recover from surgery probably isn't the worst option for the former tag champion right now. And finally today, we're ending with news from CM Punk, as despite his frosty relationship with WWE, that hasn't stopped his agent from pushing for a return. According to Dave Meltzer, Punk's agent tried to open a conversation with WWE but was instantly turned down, and this is just one sign of the tense relationship between the promotion and the former champion. Meltzer also reported that Vince McMahon described Punk as the one man I just can't do business with, and there's reportedly been little resistance from any WWE officials, including Paul Heyman. Now, WWE no longer mentions Punk when they promote their WWE Backstage show, and while there may be a time when CM Punk competes again in a WWE ring, that certainly doesn't seem to be the case right now.